Psycho X gets my egoless revenge with a side of heavy-duty karma. I was in a relationship with a girl I met in college for 9 years, and we broke up on the cusp of my 29th birthday. Despite the typical challenges associated with breakups and divorce, ours was relatively drama-free. I decided to move to a new city to start fresh and be closer to my dad, stepmom, and half-sisters, as I value my relationship with them and appreciated having family support during that time. I found an apartment and began rebuilding my life. It was during this period that I met her. At first, everything seemed great with her. She was the complete opposite of my ex-partner. She was quiet, but kind, and had her life relatively together. Unlike my previous partner, she was financially responsible. Physically, she was a complete contrast, and our intimate life was thrilling. I felt like I had hit the jackpot. I fell deeply in love with her, and we embarked on a whirlwind romance. We decided to move in together shortly after, and our lives became glamorous. With our combined income of over $150,000 per year, I had a decent small business, and she worked as a corporate accountant. We rented a luxury apartment, owned one car outright, and purchased a brand new car. We had no children but adopted cats together. We even discussed the possibility of starting a family of our own. However, there were some underlying issues that I was oblivious to at the time. One major problem was our excessive drinking, which was starting to take a toll on our relationship. Additionally, there were other unresolved issues that I failed to recognize. Despite these concerns, I remained deeply in love and committed to our relationship. One night, after getting heavily intoxicated, we impulsively decided to drive to Las Vegas. During our drunken state, we got married on the Strip, even though I had only been divorced for a short time from my previous marriage. Nonetheless, I believed I was making the right decision because of my intense feelings for her. My family generally liked her, and her family adored me. It seemed like everything was falling into place. However, the story doesn't end here, as there are more events to come. We upgraded our lifestyle and took on more debt, just as the housing bubble burst and the economy took a downturn. Unfortunately, she lost a couple of jobs due to her inability to show up on Mondays, and I started losing clients as they cut their advertising budgets in my field. This financial strain began to affect our relationship. We could no longer spend money the way we used to, and the luxuries we enjoyed, like quarterly mini vacations and dining out frequently, became unaffordable. Around this time, our sexual intimacy also dwindled, though I was unaware of it at the time. Little did I know, she cheated on me during this period. Realizing the financial challenges we faced with our regular bills and mounting credit card debt, I took action and found a job bartending at a posh resort. I also took on 2 other part-time gigs to make ends meet. Despite my efforts, she continued to complain and gave me an ultimatum before I even received my first paycheck, placing the blame squarely on my shoulders. Frustrated, I decided to end the relationship. If we had held on for a few more months, our financial situation would have likely improved, but it was too late. After the breakup, she turned into a completely different person, showing her two-faced and mean-spirited nature. Our first major fight ended with her faking a suicide attempt by scratching her wrist with a Leatherman tool and calling 911. I arrived home to the police informing me of the situation, and when I tried to check on her well-being, she had the security guard kick me out. It was evident that her attempt was nothing more than a cry for attention, as there were untouched firearms nearby. Over the course of the following week, we continued to fight. In an attempt to appease her, I gave her everything she wanted, including leaving the house, signing over my new truck to her, and only taking the belongings I had brought into the relationship, which fit into a small storage space. As she was financially strained, I sold my office furniture for cash, refrained from touching the joint bank account, and only took my business earnings and one separate credit card. I decided to spend a few months in the Bay Area, but things didn't go as planned. I faced financial struggles, failed to secure a job I was confident about, and hit rock bottom. However, during this challenging period, I had a revelation. I realized that my excessive drinking had caused many problems in my life, so I made the decision to quit drinking altogether. Since then, I haven't touched a drop of alcohol. Broke and realizing that my attempts at rebuilding weren't yielding the desired results, I returned to my hometown. I lived with my dad for a month before finding a roommate in a low-paying retail job. My business, which once earned me $7,000 to $8,000 per month, now only brought in around $500. Unable to afford a car, I resorted to biking everywhere. Moreover, my credit was in ruins, partly due to her penchant for excessive spending on credit cards, and bankruptcy seemed inevitable. At the age of 31, this was a humbling experience, but I remained resilient, knowing that hardship doesn't last forever. Meanwhile, she managed to keep her house, filed for personal bankruptcy to discharge her debts, retained her car, and began dating other men just weeks after our split. I learned that she even reached out to some of my friends and spoke ill of me. While mildly annoying, two significant factors exacerbated the situation. First, she dragged her feet on filing for divorce due to financial constraints but maintained contact under the pretense of needing to talk, all the while playing emotionally manipulative mind games with me. Second, we lived in a tight-knit suburb where she spread endless rumors and lies about me to people I encountered regularly, such as my church community, the bookstore I frequented, and the coffee shop near my place. She accused me of being a cheater, physically and emotionally abusive, which was completely false, stalking her, and stealing tens of thousands of dollars from her. Some people actually believed her, and I even faced a threat of violence from an older biker one night, which, although amusing in retrospect, was a distressing experience. Finally, after enduring more of her deceit and back and forth, she leaves town, leaving behind a trail of falsehoods. This includes borrowing money she never repaid and leaving me with a substantial overage on our shared cell phone bill just before we split the account. Although my trusting heart hurts, I am mostly relieved to see her go, realizing that she is only nice to me when she wants something. She moves to New York to live with another man and promptly gets pregnant. Eventually, she sends me the divorce paperwork, which I promptly sign and return with all the necessary notarized documents and organized files. She tries to maintain a friendly relationship, but I want no part in that charade. I remain businesslike, which upsets her. She messes up the filing process and blames me, but I brush it off and resolve the court issues on my own. Just 1 week after the divorce is finalized, she gives birth to the child. Thankfully, I don't hear from her for the next 2 years. During that time, I embark on a new career and start dating a woman who I am still with after 10 years. Interestingly, my current partner and my ex actually knew each other, and my current partner had an aversion to my ex, partly because her ex-husband was one of the individuals involved in my ex's infidelity during a period when they were attempting to reconcile for the sake of their children. Although there were multiple reasons for my partner's distrust, it seems she always had an uneasy intuition about my ex. Fast forward 2 years. I receive a call from my current partner, who has just spoken to a mutual friend and former roommate of my ex after our breakup. It turns out my ex is breaking up with the baby's father, and a custody battle is unfolding. He is casting doubt on whether he is the biological father. My partner asks if I will help her in this situation, as it is the right thing to do. Despite my lack of trust and personal feelings towards my ex, I agree to assist. I receive a call from my ex, accompanied by a sob story. Most of it doesn't add up, including claims that he took the child but believes it might be mine, and to establish paternity, I would need to travel to New York for a paternity test at a specific facility. Additionally, she alleges that he was physically abusive, placed a GPS tracker on her car, and that her brother is a Russian mobster who threatened her. These claims seem highly unlikely and far-fetched. Considering the woman in question, I am naturally suspicious. Her lawyer contacts me, and he appears to be incompetent. I receive a letter from him, which lacks professionalism and isn't even on official letterhead. Every other legal document I've seen bears the letterhead from the law offices of blah blah, but this one is just printed on plain paper. The letter states, verbatim, I, M.K., am the ex-husband of J.K., and was married to her from this day to this day. I have no legal interest in the child. The whole situation feels incredibly shady. Not wanting to find myself in a situation where I could be legally taken advantage of, I schedule a consultation with my own lawyer. However, before I can attend the appointment, the baby's father finds me on Facebook and sends me a message. Through conversations with him, his lawyer, and the impartial lawyer appointed by the state of New York for the child's welfare, I learn a completely different story. He is certain that the child is his and had secretly conducted a paternity test shortly after the baby's birth due to concerns about my ex's promiscuity before they got together. They broke up because she had developed a drinking problem, and he caught her with a bottle of vodka while she was driving with their child in the car. In court, she falsely claimed that I was the father and that she had no idea how to locate me, despite the fact that he found me online within seconds, considering my strong online presence as a tech-savvy individual with a tech blog, multiple writing credits, and even my name as a domain. The other allegations she made, such as him being physically abusive and having a Russian mobster brother, were all baseless. Similar to our relationship, he never hit or stalked her. Unaware of my knowledge, my ex starts sending me text messages. I simply respond with, "I have filled out the paperwork and sent it back to your lawyer," and discard the messages. Although I am tempted to send her a poetic message about how the truth has caught up with her, I resist because I am doing this for the sake of their son and his father, not to boost my ego. I provide legal statements to everyone involved in the court proceedings, explaining that it is scientifically impossible for me to be the father since I hadn't been with her since April 15, 2008, and their child was born in September 2009, a date I remember vividly because it was a day when I faced double trouble due to tax-related issues. I provide evidence that I was thousands of miles away on the West Coast during the likely conception dates when she was in New York. I urge them to review her meticulously tagged social media posts and numerous photos, even documenting mundane locations, which further prove my absence. Additionally, I provide a blood sample to a local laboratory and disclose salacious details about her drinking habits, occasional drug use, including abuse of prescription medications, and a prior hospitalization for a psychiatric evaluation due to an overdose of pills. When the court date arrives, my ex is blindsided. The stack of depositions and statements from me play a pivotal role in exposing the absurd game she was playing. As a result, she loses custody, child support, and is granted only supervised visitation once a week. I run into her former roommate, who is upset, but instead of responding with hostility, I calmly inform her about the scam my ex was running. Curious, she extracts more information from me about our split. She is flabbergasted, but being a terrible gossip, the truth spreads like wildfire throughout town. People I barely know, including the biker who threatened me, approach me and apologize for misjudging me. Over time, I lose any morbid curiosity to check my ex's social media, but occasionally, she appears as a suggested friend, and I observe with bemusement as the number of mutual friends dwindles from triple digits to eventually just 3. During Christmas, the baby's father sends me a generous Amex gift card, equivalent to what I would make in a week at that time. I hesitate, unsure if I can accept it because I don't want him or anyone to think that I did this for a reward. He practically pleads with me, expressing his gratitude and stating, "You helped save my family. This is nothing in comparison. Thank you." We break down crying on the phone and eventually develop an unusual, distant friendship based on mutual respect. When I have business trips to New York, we even have dinner together, and I always insist on paying because the poor guy has already endured enough and has to co-parent with this disastrous individual. To this day, she appears to be struggling with maintaining sobriety, battling issues with alcohol and other substances. As a result of her unreliability and inability to meet expectations, she has minimal involvement in her child's life. According to the baby's father, she has faced legal troubles, significant financial difficulties, and a series of short-lived relationships. On the other hand, I have managed to rebuild my life successfully. I remarried 3 years ago, embraced the role of step-parent to my new spouse's children, achieved a reasonable level of financial success, and genuinely enjoy my life. While karma may have played a significant role in this story, I believe I did the right thing by not stooping to her level, by taking the high road, and by exposing her deceitful actions. In summary, my ex-wife wreaked havoc on my life, causing financial ruin and attempting to tarnish my reputation. Years later, she tried to involve me in her custody battle as part of a scheme. Instead, I directly communicated with the court, collaborated with the baby's father's lawyers, and successfully exposed her as the manipulative and dishonest individual she truly is. Consequently, she lost custody and has since faced numerous struggles, while the genuinely good-hearted people involved in this story have found mostly happiness. And that concludes another riveting tale of pro-revenge. If you enjoyed this story, Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Don't forget to check out our other captivating revenge stories in the playlist right here. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay vengeful.